Welcome to the Tabletop Treehouse, our magical RPG hideaway. I'm Chris.
Hey, and I'm Dennis.
So what are we going to talk about today, Dennis?
Well, you know, there's these doors here we still haven't really fully explored yet. There's this one here that says like negative, failure. I kind of wanted to take a look at that.
Sure, we should totally do that. We'll be right back as we go through the door. Dennis and Chris will be right back after a word from our fantasy sponsor, Hoof and Hornshine.
All right, folks, Cower Hosel here with you, with Ragnar the Rough, ready to go into the 13th annual Mino Brawl, sponsored by Golden Roundup at the Tri-Stakes Arena here.
Love the Tri-Stakes Arena here.
Ragnar, how you feeling today?
Oh, I feel great, Coward. I feel great. I can't wait.
You think you're gonna just match up against your opponent Dorian Hoof today?
Dorian's going down. I'm gonna put that hoof so far up his face.
So what do you attribute your recent successes to, Ragnar?
Hoof and Hornshine, my special cream that makes my horns glow with the shine that you need, and my hooves shine up when they're stomping people's faces into the mat.
That's right. The last shine a Minotaur will ever need. Before the charge, before the clash, before the horns meet steel, make sure you shine.
That's right.
Folks, that's all we got for you here today with Ragnar the Rough. Get ready for the outstanding brawl in the arena here. Nobody miss it. Get your bets in and have some fun.
Oh my God. Why? These doors are dangerous, man. These doors are dangerous. I know it's fun to explore them. It's not like we haven't done it before, and a lot of times they're lovely, but that one took us to Avalon. Avalon is a terrible place.
There was some scary stuff in there, my friend.
The lamplighters and zombies, and we got to see the thing that happened to you, and it almost happened to us.
Yeah, luckily we're still fully armed, as it were.
Yeah, so the story is, and we're talking about failure states today, and the story is your character, Slippery Jim Bolivar, eventually got bit by a zombie and had to have his arm cut off, right? Like,
well, yeah. So we were in this graveyard with the Liche kind of in charge of things there. They're sort of the cleric, the holders of that area.
yeah, I'm pretty sure his name was Callus, the one that you talked to.
That's right. And while we were there, we got alerted that there was zombie activity. Callus actually helped us out with that immediately. But from there, one of my Patriots, Bitsy.
Yep.
Our great sword wielding orphanage
runner.
orphanage
Yeah, she's
runner.
great. Love
She's
her.
outstanding. She kind of found some secret zombies.
Yep, secret zombies that were being resurrected with alchemy. So they're not like magic zombies. They're alchemical fast zombies. Think you're 28 days later zombies.
Yes, they're much quicker. Bitsy, very prudent, took off running, and well, unfortunately, we had left an acquaintance at the time, this kid named Dominic.
Yeah, the poor clerk, right?
Yeah.
He's like 21. He's just
Yeah.
working, right? It's just his job.
And so, Slippery Jim kind of felt bad for the guy, and he wanted to run back in there and save him. And, well, that's what I chose to do. And it worked in a manner of speaking.
So, in reality, he failed the roll, which in this game, we use a miss state, which means when you miss, I get to make a choice about what happens.
Yes.
And my choice was to give Dennis a choice. I was like, do you want to save Dominic and push him out of the way and get bit, or let Dominic get bit? And Slippery Jim, Dennis, chose to get bit himself.
Yeah, I felt like, at least then the choice was on me rather than this, ephemeral NPC to be dealing with zombie curses. And then, then I had more agency in deciding what to do with it at that point, and ultimately what I decided on, because it seemed to be progressing fairly quickly,
Was going to kill him.
was to have Bitsy chop my arm off before it reached my, main torso.
Yeah. On the bright, yes, that was the choice. On the bright side, all the rolls after that failed roll were successes, which
Yes.
meant that you didn't die from the shock of having your arm cut off.
Yeah, I mean, Bitsy, very clean surgical cut,
She is a trained Shiorgan.
Yeah, it was.
I think that's how you pronounce that. We had a discussion about it the other day.
That sounds right to me. Potato.
Sure. As long as doctor. We're talking about doctor in here, okay?
But no, it was quite the event, and yeah, I mean the fact that even though it was a failure, didn't immediately lead to the failure that was most evident, right?
True.
That kind of opportunity was really fun at the table.
I thought so. I thought so. that is the story that leads us into what we're talking about today, which is failure states in role-playing games. Welcome to the Treehouse. If you've never been here before, this is our Treehouse. It's our magical RPG hideaway. Love it
Fun
here.
place to hide away, hang out, and learn something new.
Yeah. The question is when you have a failure state in a role-playing game, you have options. A lot of people think that you don't, but you have options. We want to kind of explore those options.
It's not always a binary yes, no, win, lose. There's areas of gray, right?
There should be.
Yeah.
I think there should be. I don't know that in game design these days and in gaming stuff, they're more well explained. These options that people have, these ideas that we're going to talk about, and we should probably get into it. So like you did a pretty good job of setting up like what is the failure state of a role-playing game. The failure state of the role-playing game, and for me a lot of times is it could be failure, but it's really about who gets to decide what happens next in the game.
How do we keep the story going?
Sure, that is a good way to phrase it too. I love the idea that role-playing games are games, right? And to me, the best part about games is that you have a choice. Like the choice is what makes it a game instead of just somebody telling me something that happened. We got our little magic iPad here, which has our notes on it. So we're just going to keep looking at that.
Powered by the arcane, of course.
Let me ask you a question. What are some other options that you could have seen in that situation with Slippery Jim? What are some of the other misstates that could have occurred there?
Well, I mean, the obvious one, of course, is Dominic eats it.
I just say he eats it. Like you didn't do the thing.
You didn't get there in time. He gets swelled. If you want to run away now, you can.
Yeah, because I already like implicated those states without stating them outright.
Yeah. Like that, I feel like that was the most obvious one, and because that's what my character was going to do. If that had been the immediate failure, well, not wrong. It wouldn't have felt as good as what ended up happening, right?
It's true. It's very true.
So yeah, for other options from there, like,
well, I could have flipped it around and just been like, you get bit.
Yeah.
Not giving you the choice.
Right. Just you expose yourself and now you're both in trouble.
Yeah. And since that game has conditions, and what the condition that you got was zombie infection.
Right.
Right. Like that's a thing that could happen. I could have been really mean and been like, you both get bit.
Yeah.
Right. Like that would have been harsh, but it was on the table to be done.
Yeah.
I guess some other things I could have done, because eventually what you succeeded at doing was keeping those zombies inside the building.
Yeah, we ended up blockading the door after we got out with Dominic.
That was part of that whole situation right there. I could have actually said like one of the zombies, like instead of biting you guys, blasts you guys to the door and the door is wide open.
Yeah,
like, that's another choice that I could have made.
Yeah, just they escape, and whether Dominic lives or dies, it's kind of moot at that point.
Or now there's just a big giant throwdown outside in the courtyard of this building, this mausoleum.
Right.
So there's choices, right? Like that's the point, is that you have choices.
And I think it's something that can get lost in the moment, like for a DM or a game master, when it can sometimes be tough to keep aware of all the different plates that are spinning, right?
Yeah.
And so being cognizant enough to say like, oh, well, okay, that failed, but how else can I work this, to make the game more fun? Like, how can I give more options?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's hard when you're playing a game. Like, games have rules, and those rules often like imply or state like what the failure state should be a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like I said, role-playing games have gotten more away from that in recent years.
Yeah, it's less of a binary nowadays, I would say.
And I mean, the most widely played game in the world is Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely.
And I know that there is some language in those rule books these days that talk about how you can handle skill checks and how they don't have to be necessarily a binary pass fail. We should look for other ways to handle that, which is great for these newer rules, but that's not how they always were.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this obviously applies more so to exploration, social encounters, less so combat. Combat, there's an obvious fail state.
Depending on the game we're playing.
Right. If you're playing a more narrative combat,
we play Rapscallion, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game.
Right.
That game has all kinds of options for what happens when things go wrong.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, I think depending on, you have to know where you can use this tool. Absolutely.
Like if you're playing, like you said, D&D or Pathfinder or a game, even Savage Worlds, if you miss in a fight. There's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't be opposed to somebody saying to me when I miss, hey, you want to hit him and then take a hit in return?
Right.
Not in the rules, but something you could try if you wanted to. Not all the time, but when it is dramatically appropriate, whatever that means at your table. But you can also just not do that. Like, you don't have to play the game in that way, and you'll have just as good of a time. That's what the rules are for a lot of times.
Absolutely.
To help guide that experience.
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, the rules are play tested well enough where you shouldn't really be going too far outside until you have a very good understanding, right?
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb, I think.
Yeah. But no, having that dramatic moment at the table where like, oh, you're up against the vampire and you go to take this final swipe at him and you can get the hit, but he's going to get that bite on you.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to kill the vampire and maybe become one yourself at the end?
Or, get partially exsanguinated, not have that constitution buff that you normally have.
Yeah. So yeah, options.
Yeah, and since we're talking about options and we've a bit buried the lead, let's talk about specific kind of categories of options. So you fail at doing the thing that you're trying to do. You fail at the thing you're trying to do, and then it gets worse. It's a critical failure a lot of the time. Okay, those are the really bad ones, right?
Yep. Failure with a failure.
You fail at the thing that you're trying to do, but you get some sort of benefit out of it. That's failure with a benefit. That's failure with a boon, essentially. Failure with a benefit, whatever you want to call it. It exists in role-playing games these days.
Yeah.
There's succeeding at the thing you're trying to do with a complication. Success with a cost. Success with a complication. We've seen that in a ton of games these days.
Very common nowadays, I'd say.
Yeah, look at your Powered by the Apocalypses. Look at your...
Well, and I think like you were saying, even with the
Darks.
new D&D, I think with skill checks, they kind of...
Some of that stuff's in there.
Rule that they've... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You get a choice to succeed at the thing that you were doing or have a miss or failure state that the game master gets to decide. Like, hey, here is your Sophie's choice of the whole thing.
Yeah,
Not that
an
I want to invoke
opportunity.
Sophie's choice.
Devil's bargain, Sophie's choice, an opportunity to explore your own options at that moment.
Not the devil's bargain from your Forge in the Dark games.
Yes, not the specific quote unquote TM.
TM, nice. I like that. So those are like our categories of failures, at least the ones that I could think of that I put down together. And we thought of together.
I think those cover, in broad strokes, absolutely.
One of the interesting things that you brought up was some of these ideas of like the costs and choices of failure. And we started talking about that when we were getting ready for this time in the treehouse. So there are categories.
Never enough time in the treehouse.
Never enough time in the treehouse. There are these like different categories that I thought were interesting to discuss. So like this concept of narrative complications, and that happened to you.
Yeah.
Like the narrative complication of like, I got bit and now I'm in trouble.
Right. Well, yeah, it allows for, I feel like, the story to progress rather than, like we were kind of saying at the beginning, it's just a yes, no, or something of that nature. It allows for both the game master to provide options and then for the player themselves to pick an option.
Mm-hmm. And you even mentioned that we can go beyond that with the idea that these are consequences that are not necessarily just immediate, right? In fact, your zombie bite was sort of immediate, but it was going to take some time. It wasn't like an instantaneous thing. Like, I'm bit by a zombie and I'm infected, but you had time before that infection took hold and turned you into a zombie.
Right. But to that same point, I think with that same encounter, it wasn't immediately evident to us, but there was some kind of failure that we had wherein Garrus Vel got away.
Yep.
And that had much wider narrative.
It absolutely did.
Complications.
Yeah, that was a story that they eventually managed to head off later, but Garen Vel, I think names are hard, right?
People that sounds, I'm pretty sure that's what we named them.
If you were the kind of person that can remember every name of every NPC in your role-playing games, hats off to you. I have a hard time sometimes, especially when we play a lot of games. Like we play like 4 different role-playing games.
Well, we had the moments where we were both confused about which heist we were playing.
That's true. That happened. Anyways, he was off making zombies alchemically while he was also undead himself. And if they didn't find him, which they were searching for him over the course of time, it took them like another 6 sessions to track him down eventually while they're doing other things. And they caught him and turned him into the people that were also looking for him, like the Lachey or a family of people that were also alchemists that were interested in him. So they took him off the street before his zombies could attack the local populace and start a zombie apocalypse outbreak thing, which would have happened, but they added it off.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of had it in the back burner of our minds, like, oh yeah, this dude's still around. We should maybe, and I feel like we kind of uncovered things just in the nick of time.
You did. It was just in the nick of time. I had in the game that we're playing, I have reactions that I can utilize at certain times, and it was on my list of reactions to potentially use for that next scenario.
Yep.
So could have done it. But they headed it off, so I had to actually cross it off my list. I'm like, darn, that's unfortunate.
So yeah, that idea of a failure in the immediate may not make itself known depending on the situation. Like if it's a social situation and you fail a persuasion check, maybe the conversation just continues as normal. But in the back of whoever you're talking, the back of this guy's head that you're talking to, he's going to go home, have a different opinion of you, of your party.
Yep.
Maybe, things are going to be moving in the shadows and you're not going to have the same opportunities or the same, favor is going to fall with a faction.
Yep. You find yourself not having that ally that you thought you had with that opportune, that important moment in play. Like, hey, we were depending on this guy and then they didn't show up.
Right. You don't totally want to blindside your players with that sort of thing. Like, sprinkle some kind of clues, a few raisins on the trail. Like
there's some like soft move, hard move from the Powered by the Apocalypse stuff in the OSR space. It's like, make sure you signal danger coming.
Right.
That way it's not, people always have a chance to react to a thing that before it actually really happens.
Yeah.
They might not know exactly what's about to happen, but they have at least have a chance to do something about it. I assume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. As much fun as it is to kind of pull the wool over the player's eyes and do a big reveal, and those are totally appropriate at times. Again, it's a pick and choose sort of thing.
Man, set up and payoff is the important thing right there. Yeah. If you're gonna do something like that, make sure you set it up, and then when you pay it off, they all go, "Oh yeah, that made sense."
Yeah.
Because if they ever do the thing and they're like, "That made no sense," then you might have been trying to be too clever.
Yeah.
Just throwing that one out there.
Right.
A couple other costs and choices of failure. Resource depletion. Like you could just charge them resources. Hit points are a resource, but also money.
Time
is a resource, especially if your game has a timer on it.
Yeah.
These are all resources that players have, that characters have, I should say. Conditions.
Right.
Whatever those are in whatever game that you happen to be playing, or if you just decide to insert those kind of things in there.
Yeah, whether it's just a sort of tag system or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like we play games that have them. Right now, a lot of them.
Yeah.
The Rapscallion has it. The Streets of Avalon game has it. Yeah. Our Delta Green doesn't.
No.
You're playing Delta Green. That one doesn't have conditions, although it does have the you can be struck temporarily insane.
Right. Yeah, it does have those sanity meters. Or well,
there's a thing where if you get hit too much too fast, you get
right.
And there are the things that can happen if you take sanity damage from violence 3 times in a row, you become immune to violence. That has some benefits and some consequences.
Yeah.
But there are those shorter
coin.
Those are those shorter term sanities that you could take in games like Call of Cthulhu too. Eventually, if you take too much sanity in those games, you do get a permanent insanity, like a permanent mental condition.
Yeah. To throw it into D&D world, you have your poisoned, you're incapacitated,
curses,
curses, absolutely.
You should talk about curses sometime in the future. I have all sorts of thoughts about good, fun, and enjoyable ways to implement curses.
We could bring a guest on for that show.
We totally could bring a guest on for that show. Couple, really.
Yeah, right.
Between Mike and Katie.
Yeah.
It's because Katie had some bad experiences with it, but Mike loves to be taken by the curse. These are players in our games, they're friends of ours.
Very, very often heard at the table. Let it take you.
Let it take you.
But yes, curses, I absolutely another option for, a failure. Obviously that's situation specific, but definitely another opportunity there for, a DM to have some fun with.
Yeah, I'm with you. Player agency. You can limit and restrict player agency with failure states. In fact, that's one of the primary things that you can do. So there's the classic example of we're trying to pick the lock to get through the door, right? They're trying to be sneaky, right? They're trying to get through this place undetected. They go to pick the lock and they fail, miss, whatever you want to say. Instead of them not getting through the door, they will eventually pick the lock. But as soon as they pick the lock or they're about to pick the lock, that's when the guards come around the corner and they see them. That means the whole place gets alerted.
Right.
You've taken away some amount of agency from the players and how they can then proceed forward. Like they've lost options. Because now they can't sneak around.
Stealthy, essentially. Yeah. As we're talking about it now, I'm realizing maybe a lot of these fall under a big umbrella of player agency.
They do
to a degree, but there's also very specific ones where, like you're saying, it's less about using one of these more specific things and just, there's just less options available now.
Yeah. Like you can't be sneaky anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to be sneaky. Everybody knows that you're here.
Yeah.
Like that is. that is restricting the things that you can do as a character. Like you can still like leave, like you could just vacate the space if you wanted to, but they'll probably be prepared for you from now on.
Yeah, and like, you know, even in that situation where you to turn invisible, they're still on high alert.
Yeah.
They're still going to be looking, and maybe they got somebody with magic eyes.
So when I talk about player agency, I'm not saying like you can't. I am essentially saying like you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, right.
But it's never for a reason that doesn't make sense.
No, it all fits within the narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, copacetic to the situation. It'd be like if the player was like, "Oh, they're all, you know, alert to me now. I run behind a pillar and I hide." Well, no, you really don't.
I mean, you can do that, but they're gonna find you eventually.
They saw you run behind the pillar.
Yeah, right.
Like, sorry.
So your 27 stealth check doesn't like function in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you have like shadowy magic that can cover you up, or
right, a larger situation or more powers, whatever.
Or you turn invisible. I mean, you can still try to like sneak your way through the place, but you're not unknown anymore.
Yeah, they are alert to you.
Yeah,
and that's not going to change.
Now everything is so much harder.
Yeah. Yeah, the you know, doors have shut over all the glass cases you were hoping to purloin, and
they've busted out their magic eyes that can see through invisibility and all that garbage.
And bah humbug.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still going to be opportunities.
Yeah, which is the whole point. But yeah, the idea is like limiting the choice and reducing the agency without taking it away.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about when we talk about reducing or eliminating player agency in those moments. We've talked a ton about how to apply these ideas as we've been talking about them. So you got any tools for how to help with this kind of situation?
Well, like I said, specifically in the moment, it can be difficult, right? So
practice, man.
Yeah, practice note taking.
Get the reps.
I'll be the first to admit I'm not a very good note taker. I try to get better as I go. On a player side, it's beneficial to you and the table as a whole. On the DM side, it definitely becomes more crucial just so that you can do these payoffs for your players, right?
Yeah.
So that you can have the opportunity to bring up a backstory moment, or, you know, something that happened 6 sessions ago. And, oh, yeah, you remember this guy that you guys almost forgot about? Hey, here come the zombies. If we hadn't followed through, right?
Yep.
But no, so as far as specific tools on the game master side, taking notes, keeping track of things that your players are doing, things that they want, working your story to fulfill those things, not in spite of failure, but utilizing failure to lead you down that road.
One of my favorite things to do to get better at this skill, this idea of like how to figure out what you want to do in the game when there's a miss or a failure, is I will watch TV shows or I will read books and whatever the narrative is. And when I get to a point where I'm like, oh, they obviously failed a thing, and then a thing happened, I'm like, well, what else could have happened? Like, what are the other choices that I could have made? I do this a lot when I'm playing role-playing games too, where I will go back and question, like, what could I have done differently in that moment?
Yeah. I mean, retrospection on you know, the sessions that you have run. Look back and say, well, yeah, kind of like we're doing now. Like, what else could have happened with Slippery Jim?
Yep.
Self-reflection on any level is always a good thing, right?
Yeah, but that specific tool of like, what else could I have done? And then like, decide 2 or 3 things.
Right.
And it's really,
give it a try.
It's a fun exercise. I enjoy it. In the moment, like you're making choices in the moment. It's hard. Like you have a list at least now. We've given you a list of things that you can choose from if you don't want to just use whatever the game has given you. A lot of games give you these options now though. So the tools are right there for you to use.
It's usually spelled out fairly well for you. It can be, you know, if you're first running a game or a new system or something of that sort, you know, it can be hard to digest everything that you need for that first session.
Yeah, absolutely. It usually takes 2 or 3 games really to get like into the groove of what's happening. Sometimes longer.
I'm sure there's certain games or systems where it's going to be more beneficial to, like we were saying in the beginning, you know, learn the rules first. You know, don't try to homebrew too many things. Play it as intended. Figure out from there what works. But if you're a more seasoned player, more seasoned, you know, game runner, and you have these tools in your pocket, you know, don't be afraid to use them when you feel it's right. Like,
absolutely.
If the game doesn't specifically delineate out like, oh, success with a failure. Well, if something would really benefit from the situation where that's the opportune choice, the ideal choice.
It feels right in the moment.
Yeah. You know, don't be afraid to, you know, throw that in. if you think your table's amenable to that. Obviously,
Yeah. I mean, these things should all be like worked out amongst each other. Players, if you're a player and you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, please watch it on YouTube. You can just ask if these things can be in the game. You can just be like, hey, GM, can we do like some other stuff so that it just doesn't feel so binary all the time?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can be helpful in that manner. Like it doesn't have to be like, I demand this. It'd be like, what if we tried these things? And if they say no, then you understand that that's not what that experience is going to be. And if that wasn't set up during your session 0 or your debriefs, whatever they are, we use stars and wishes all the time, then, that's not the kind of game that at least that person was looking for at the table, and you guys can negotiate that later or whatever. But I mean, that's why you have debriefs and session 0s and things like that to figure out what kind of games you actually want to play together instead of like trying to leave it up to chance. We have a whole episode on that coming at some point.
Yeah. Expectations and how to meet them. How to find them.
Yeah, right. Design wise, the stuff that we just talked about, if it's in the rule book for the game master to utilize, where the narrative power is on a miss, where the narrative power is on a success, do you have other meta currencies that also allow you to like manipulate or shift how failure works? I mean, that's the one thing. If you have a binary system, it's good to have a bunch of like abilities or powers or meta currency to alleviate that. Otherwise, it can get real. The randomizer makes a big difference in gameplay.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, we're at the whim of this D20 and that's what we're doing. I'm like, perfectly fine game. I've played that game before.
Right.
It's a lot of fun, but you understand then that like we're at the whim of this die for the most part and whatever choices we have made. And even when you make good choices, sometimes you're still at the whim of the die.
Well, yeah, sometimes the dice tell stories.
I love when the dice help tell the story.
Yeah.
And that's why I love when the game helps tell the story. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, when they work in concert together, it's awesome.
All right, well, I mean, that's our show for this week.
Hope you all enjoyed your time here at the Treehouse with us.
We did. We certainly enjoyed it. By the way, I'm going to read this outro now because I don't have it memorized just yet. This has been the Tabletop Treehouse. We're going to get to some other things, but thank you so much for joining us in the Treehouse, where you're all welcome anytime.
Anytime at all.
Feel free to join us in the Tabletop Treehouse Discord. There will be a Discord out there for you to go to. I'll have a link in the doobly-doo below.
Down in the notes.
Yep. Or, wherever you're
or maybe up
finding
in
this.
the notes.
It'll be on our
to the
website
side
too.
with the notes.
Yeah,
maybe I'll put it on your
we'll put the link on there. It'll be hilarious to watch people type that in off your shirt.
I'll have to wear a green shirt next time.
I can just overlay it. It's fine. I could do that. Oh, man. Oh, so if you have any questions about the show or whatnot, go to the Discord. Talk about
Open
gaming.
books.
It's going to be a pretty chill place to hang out. We hope that's our intention. If you enjoyed our company, we hang out and talk about our games at the game table. That's our game time episodes, which they come out about once a month from our Patreon, along with some bonus content like you probably heard it earlier. The Ragnar the Rough and Hoof and Hornshine. There's a 3-page PDF that has a magic item in there and also a write-up about Ragnar and his history. Dennis was so nice to write that up, and I developed it and laid it out for y'all.
Ragnar's a fun guy.
Yeah, Ragnar's a fun guy.
Yeah.
He's got that shiny horn, hooves and shiny horn.
Absolutely.
He's also got a really big axe hammer thing. It's a pole axe. I'm like designing the thing. It's like a hammer on one side and an axe on the other. It's a pole axe.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that's what it was until I like looked it up. I'm like, what is this thing? I think I know what it is. All right. Well,
beauty ace.
So what's one thing a GM could try during their next session?
Well, like we were saying, it's you want to use it sparingly in combat, but I think it might be fun for somebody who's maybe new to this idea of different failure states. Throw one into a combat session.
Sure.
If you see a dramatic moment coming up, or if a character is low on hit points and they're about to get crushed, make it an opportunity choice. Give them, here, you can either take this hit or maybe get this hit, but something's going to happen to you in return. Like there's that cost benefit analysis situation where in that moment they get to make another choice before the dice are the ultimate determinant.
Oh man, you can block this blow that's coming down to you that would reduce you to 0 hit points with your sword, and instead of getting reduced to 0 hit points, you're reduced to 1 hit point. Your sword shatters.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, and then that's resource costs essentially, right?
Because now you like have this broken sword. And it's like, what do I do with my broken sword? I'm like, it functions like a dagger.
Right. Yeah, you can maybe club somebody with it.
You can do a D4 point of like damage.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing your D&D, your Pathfinder, things
Right,
like
right.
that. All right. Well, we'll see y'all later. Thanks for coming and joining us in the treehouse.
Safe trip down the ladder.